Okay, I'll quickly read through the citation of the speaker and then I'll hand over to him. So, so Joshua is the executive director of Care for Knowledge. I'm sure a lot of us know him. He is an active member of the cycle where he leads strategy and vision across the organization's core program. Okay. With a background in mechanical engineering and a deep passion for educational equity, his broader academic focus lies in engineering education, especially how it can be made more sustainable and accessible in contexts like Nigeria. Under his leadership, CFK continues to grow as a youth-led movement committed to expanding access to knowledge, raising change makers, and driving educational reform from the ground up. So please, with our emojis, please let's clap for Mr. Joshua Olunlade as he would be speaking with us today on moving as one and how great teams work like a well-oiled machine. You have the floor, sir.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing? Good to see you all here on such short notice. Good evening, Cornelius. I'm just going to mention the names of people I can see on my end here from the screen. Good evening, Cornelius. Good evening, Christiana. Janet, Obanjesu, nice to see you here again. Olunlade, good evening. Ore, good evening. Peace and Ruth, good evening. It's so nice to be with us today. So to be sure that we can all hear me, I would like to get our reactions again. Okay, I can see reactions from Ruth, from Obanijesu. Only Ruth and Obanijesu can hear me. Okay, I see reactions from more people now. So thank you very much, everybody, for having me today. It's amazing to be with us. I'm not a strange face here. We are working through this whole thing together. And I want to say once again, thank you for being here on such short notice. The title of what we are discussing today, or what I'm speaking on today, is Moving as One. How great teams work like a well-oiled machine. And before I move on in my slides, I just want to make some anecdotes and compare this to like a car. So when you get inside your car, you like we barely know, even those that are most vast in engineering, we barely can understand how detailed the amount of planning that has gone into making that car move as a single unit, like as a single entity. And what do I mean by that? Your car has a lot of moving parts that will come up later in my slides, but somehow everything, once you control it, once you turn the steering, everything moves as a single body, not as a couple of parts. Today, we are going to be covering a few things, and these are the four core things that I will be discussing or talking about today. These are the four core things that I want us to really understand today. Every part has a purpose. Contact is required to create motion. Alignment turns motion into progress. Without lubrication, friction breaks us. Before we move on, remember that car illustration that I was making earlier. So it turns out that your average car has about 30,000 parts. And I don't know, just by a show of reactions, how many of us have ever been in a car that refused to work? Like maybe stranded in the middle of the road, the car just stopped working, the tire burst, something like that. And how many of us have been in that kind of situation before? Can I get reaction? Okay, Ruth, yeah. Any other person? Have you been in that kind of situation before? Okay. Yeah, so most of us have actually been in that kind of position. I can see our hands. Thank you for that. And I was in that kind of position quite recently. It was one of the days in this week. I was at work, and at about maybe 4:30 or thereabouts in the afternoon, I wanted to leave work. Please, I'm hearing some feedback. I think Enoch, please, if you can mute yourself. If you can mute yourself, I'm getting some feedback over here. Okay, so it was around 4:30 in the afternoon. We were just about to leave work. It was not my car. I don't have a car yet. But as we were about to go, um, the driver kicked, like, put in the keys and tried to turn on the car. At first, we thought, okay, maybe this is a dead battery. So we changed the battery. And then eventually, it wasn't the battery. We tried, we debugged the entire thing. We tried and tried and tried. And can you believe that that car did not leave that spot that day? In fact, we left that place around 8:30 at night. Because if any of you know where I work, you know that it's quite a distance from, like, normal civilization. And it was so far out that another person had to come and pick us. Eventually, the technicians discovered that it was just a little part in the car, like really small part, and it was kind of annoying because a small part in the car made the entire car to stop working, like the engine did not come on. So why did I share that story? We have to understand that a team or a car is more than the sum of its parts. So that small part that kept us waiting could have been cheap or expensive. It really doesn't matter. But the interesting part is that it kept a car, an entire car, stuck. That shows how that when simple parts don't work in a car, things can go bad very quickly. And a car is a typical example of a machine. But we are not talking about just cars today. We are talking about teamwork. But before we go into teamwork, I want to share this other story. It's kind of tragic, but it really drives home part of the points that I want to make today. So in 1986, the spacecraft that you see on your slide or on the slide in front of you is the Challenger. That's what it was called. And this Challenger blast off from the Earth around 11:38 a.m. in the morning Eastern Time. It was supposed to go into orbit, but as it went further and further and further, it exploded in the air, killing about 7 people that were on board. 7 lives were lost just about 73 seconds into its flight. You would wonder and think, what exactly happened to this spacecraft? Why did it crash like this? Eventually, when they did their findings, they discovered that it was a simple O ring, like a very, very small part in that entire aircraft that caused the explosion, that caused the malfunction of the entire spacecraft. This shows us that when little things go wrong in big organisms or in big machines, things can get bad very fast. 7 lives were lost because of this incident. When human beings are the individual parts of a team or of a machine, it's not a machine, it's an organism. Every team is a living organism of some sort. When human beings are the individual parts of that organism, things can go very bad very quickly if they don't know what they're doing or if they don't work well together. So that's why our topic today is moving as one. The entire spacecraft must move as one. The entire car must move as one for it to fulfill the need that you want it to do. Everything too has a purpose, and for them to fulfill that purpose, they have to move as one. So I will be discussing some of the characteristics of great teams, or some of the characteristics that I think great teams have. Underlying every great team, you will find one or more of these characteristics. Like I said earlier, these are the 4 things that we'll be discussing in this session. Let's go to the first one. Every part has a purpose. So, you guys are fellows. You work in various teams. You work across different things. In fact, it will surprise some of you to know what other people in the fellowship are doing, because you may not have even thought about, oh, so somebody could be doing that within the same program. However, every part, just like how we saw in the Challenger spacecraft, that a small O-ring could cause the catastrophic incident that happened, every part has a purpose. The purpose, it may look small, but every part has a purpose. No gear, no part is ever wasted. if you are familiar with design or putting things together, nothing is ever just put there for the sake of let it just be there. Everything has a functional use. Even the things that seem like they are not useful, like functionally, they are there sometimes for the aesthetic beauty. Sometimes a car, for instance, when you have a car that works, it works. The engine is fine, the chassis is okay, everything is good. But the body, okay, let me ask a question from all of us here. Just by a show of hands, by a show of hands, how many of us would love, like if they ask you to choose between a Ferrari and a Toyota Corolla, which one would you choose? Um, Maybe in the chat, maybe we can drop it in the chat. I would like to see that. What would you choose between a Ferrari and a Corolla? I want to make a point there. Okay, I'm expecting our responses in the chat. What would you choose between a Ferrari and a Corolla? A Ferrari. If you can also drop why, that would be interesting. I want to see what we are saying. The reason I'm asking that question is because when we say every part has a purpose, sometimes we think, what is the use of this part? What is the use of this? What is the use of this? Is it not just for decoration or something like that? But if we peel the layers a little bit back, we begin to discover that even those even those that have a that seem like they don't have a purpose, they do have a purpose. Christiana is saying she wants a Ferrola. I wonder why. Okay, I've seen only one response so far from Oban Jesu. He wants a Ferrari. Why? Why do you want a Ferrari? Why would you like a Ferrari? So while I wait for that, let me talk about every part as a purpose. You have to understand that when we build cars or when we build teams, everything within it has a purpose. Everything within it has a purpose. If it does not have a purpose, it should not be there. Now, let us compare how this works with teams. Every individual, every person has a purpose. So you are here because you are a part of CFK. You have a purpose. You have a reason why you are here. You are a valuable member of the team. Before any team can work greatly together, they have to first understand that every single person is valuable. I don't believe that people are replaceable. You can never truly replace somebody. You can never truly get the essence of somebody back. Every person is unique in their own way. Whether they carry their weight or not, every team member is valuable. Okay, so I see some more responses and I'm going to come back to you have a purpose soon. So Christiana wants a Ferrola, Ruth wants a Ferrari, no argument. Like the way the car moves, the engine, it's a Ferrari, definitely. Peace wants a Corolla, that's nice. Janet wants a Ferrari too. Peace, why do you want a Corolla? You can let us know that. And Obanjesu is explaining the aesthetics is off the charts. Amazing. I like what you just mentioned. You see, both a Corolla and a Ferrari can move you from point A to B. But when you consider the aesthetics, for instance, the like Ruth said, the way the engine roars or the way it moves and things like that, you begin to see the differences between what you'd call a Ferrari and what you call a Corolla. A Corolla does not have the aesthetics of a Ferrari. No, it doesn't. So even the useless part that you would think that why is this so shaped like this? This is so expensive. This is a waste. Has a purpose when it comes to okay, this is a Ferrari, and then the other parts in a Corolla that makes it functional also have their purpose when it comes to a Corolla. So we know that every part, whether it's the body of a car or the internal engines, they are all important. Some parts may be more important to the movement of the car than others, and some parts may be more important to the marketability of a car than others. But nonetheless, every car is important. Exactly. So P says Corolla for functionality. Yeah, a Ferrari is also functional when you have the money to be able to make it functional. But yeah, everybody wants something for a reason, and there are things that appeal to them about those things. So let me go back to this. When you are part of a team, you have to understand that just like every part has a purpose within a car, Every person in a team also has a purpose. Every team member is valuable. They don't have to be loud to matter. And sometimes the roles may look really small. Okay, put the announcement out there on the group. Make sure that people know that this is going on. It may seem really small, but you would wonder how that small role can affect a lot of things. So let me share a side note concerning this now and not later. So when I talk about every team member has value in themselves, no matter how big or small they may look, you would wonder, okay, but there are definitely some people that have more value than others and things like that. And you have star players and all of that. So I want to share a small story about my experience working with star players or star team members. So a while ago, I was to build a team to do something. And I decided to bring together some of the most, let me say, some of the best people that I know, like really talented, really excellent, like individually, they are excellent people. Eventually, when I brought them into the team with other people that were not as excellent or that I thought were not as excellent as they were, when I brought them into the team, eventually I discovered that the people that I thought were not as excellent as as the others, they performed much better than these other people that I thought were excellent. And their performance that I'm saying is within the confines of like what a team is supposed to do. What I discovered later on was that these people that I rated in my mind as not as excellent, they fit more into the seemingly little things that they were supposed to do than the other people who did not really fit into the team. It was just like I had stars and not a team. Again, the reason I shared that is because I want you to understand that for a team to truly be great, everybody has to understand that every other person matters. As much as you matter in the team, every other person too matters in the team. To the next point, sometimes we don't want to talk to people. Let me ask another question. Just let's say by a show of hands, how many of you would prefer working alone? Can I just see our hands up? If you prefer working alone than with a team, can I just see our hands up? Enoch's hands is just perpetually up, but I want to see others. You prefer working alone than in a team. Don't worry, you can speak freely. Okay, everybody here prefers to be team members. We have very interesting people in the fellowship. Okay, Peace is raising her hands 2 times. Okay. Any other person? You prefer working alone than being with a team. Okay, so I see only 2 hands. And that is okay. I see some other things in the chat. Janet says she prefers to work alone on some days, but she also prefers to work with a team. And that is understandable, honestly. Now, the next point that I am trying to make is this. You need contact with other people to be able to work as a great team. Contact is required to create motion. You see, as we have a lot of parts in the car, if they were just existing as parts and they did not connect with each other, like one gear did not mesh with the other, then the other with the car, it would be impossible to make the car. If it were just a series of floating objects, it would be impossible. Nothing will happen. It will not be able to transport you from one point to another. It's impossible. In that same way, as a car is a good example of what a team is, human beings too, when they function within teams, have to connect with each other, like actual connections, actual relationships. One thing I've realized about great teams is that they are not just a bunch of people surviving together till they can be dispersed. One thing I've realized is that they are people that build solid relationships. A machine does not move unless the parts connect in some way with each other. In some way. Not all parts connect equally. For instance, in a car, you don't want your tires to be rigid. It would not work. Like you need your cars to be your tires to be connected in such a way that they can move. In the same way, you don't want your windshield to be connected to your car in such a way that it will just be moving every time. You need it to be rigid so that it can protect you. That's the same thing about a team. A team is not everybody in the team that we have the same kind of connection or the same kind of relationships. However, it is important that everybody in the team, or it is important that great teams have real connections that drive them together. In the same way, like when you are talking about a small team, some things are feasible. When you're talking about a larger team, some things may not be feasible, but there are still things that bind everybody together. Relationships are the lifeblood of any great team. If your team does not have good relationships, it will not work. For instance, CFK is working so hard through the growth teams, the growth groups, the project groups, your functional groups, everything to make sure that you have solid relationships, you have excellent relationships, not just within the places that you work in, but also outside of it that will help you to grow. Don't think that these relationships that you build with team members, either within Care for Knowledge or outside of it, are just going to end there. There are many people that I have met. For instance, some of the people here right now, I didn't meet them in CFK. I met them outside of CFK. Probably we were in some group or something bound us together. We formed relationships deep enough to carry us into the next endeavor, into the next thing that we did together. And now we are here together. It is important that you have great connections with the people that you work with. But these connections are not automatic. You can't just connect because we are meant to connect in a team. Everybody must show up. You are a member of a team. How can you make your team great? One way is to show up. You can't Okay, so can you hear me? Sorry, can I get some reactions if you can hear me? I think I lost network for a little bit there. Okay, thank you very much. So, like I was saying, let's talk about virtual relationships through virtual groups because that is what most of us here like the kind of connections that we have with one another. Now, for instance, when you work with a physical team, they expect that when we say we are meeting by 9 p.m. or sorry, if it's not virtual, but you don't come to the meeting or you come to the meeting and you are withdrawn. You cannot connect with people that way. And some of the teams that I've worked with that crashed, that's how it worked. Somebody comes or people come, a bunch of individuals come together and they barely connect with each other beyond what is buying, like, okay, let's just do the work that we have to do and let us get out of here. You have to show up. You have to also cultivate the habit of reaching out to people because that is how you connect with people. You must be present. Like, I don't know how to explain being present, but like I said, I explained the physical aspect. Okay, you have a physical team meeting, you have to show up. What about when it is virtual? When it is virtual, so you have a virtual team meeting, for instance, or you don't even have a team meeting. For instance, our growth groups, many times there is no meeting. Let's meet, but there are discussion, there are trends and things like that. Somebody puts something on the group, a question or a comment or something like that, and you form an habit of seeing it and passing by. Do you know that the more people do that, the less people are willing to react or respond? And then the more it becomes a team habit that when anybody needs or puts something up, the rest of us don't respond. So it means that the next time that you also need to hear the perspective of the team on something that you are working on, the rest of them too will not respond. So it becomes a vicious cycle. We must make real connections if we will have great teams. It is a prerequisite for great teams. Alignment turns motion into progress. I want you to take a look at the lines that I have on my slide. So in the first box, you have a bunch of lines that are not clearly aligned with each other. Look at this as people, like the movement of people. Like if you are in a team and this is how your team, you have a direction, you don't necessarily have where you're going, there's no clear, like, what are we doing here? What is going to happen is that you are going to keep clashing with one another. Just like how you see that all these lines, at some point, they clash with one or more lines. One or more of the other lines. That is the same way that you will keep is direction. If the gears that you saw earlier, let me show you those gears again. So if you look at these gears, if these gears that you are seeing, if they are not aligned carefully to mesh with one another here and here, it will not work. Like, serious problems will occur. So it's like we have to understand that great teams work together when they are aligned, when there is a direction to what they do, when there is a path that they follow. That is what creates smooth motion. Without alignment, things can go bad very fast. You need to be aligned with one another. In alignment, that is where the work of a leader is known best. We don't just have leaders because we need people to boss us around. We have leaders because we need people to be able to coordinate the direction that we will move in as a team. And this is also a good point to add this. If you are a leader in a team, you need to have a direction for your team. What is my team doing? Where are we going? Like, where exactly are we going? Because if all of you don't know where you're going together as a whole, there is no way that you can position yourselves in relation to one another to be able to achieve your goals. Many times we have energy, but you will burn out if your energy does not have clarity of direction. Imagine that you want to go north and you have a lot of fuel inside the car. But instead of putting the car in the direction of the north, you put it in reverse and you drive in the direction of the south. Sorry, I think I was muted. Can you hear me? I want to be sure that I'm audible. Can you guys hear me? Just give me some reactions. Okay. I see reactions. Thank you. If you do not have clarity of direction, you are supposed to be going north. Your car should be pointed north. If your car is pointed south, that energy will only get you to the wrong place faster. So that is why we need good leaders, good managers that make sure that we are all in the same direction and we are all being moved towards the same goal. When we say roles must be rhythmic and must sync, how many of you have watched an orchestra play before, like a group of instruments play, maybe in church or some other place? Yeah, thank you, Oban Jason. If you see an orchestra playing, sometimes they don't even play the exact same notes. The person playing soprano may be playing a different set of notes, while the person playing alto may be playing a different set of notes. However, what they are playing eventually, if it is well coordinated, if it is scripted, it usually ends up melodious, so beautiful. It is more than the sum of their individual parts. In the same way, our roles, they must be coordinated. So let's give a practical example. You are uploading questions, for instance. It would be weird if your team leader was to say, okay, I need you to upload 2012 biology questions. And the same team leader tells another team member to upload the same 2012 biology past questions. You guys would clash when you get to the platform, because you would get to the platform and see that somebody is already uploading the question that you're supposed to be uploading. Or worse, if the team leader says, I need you to upload this, and then tells another person, oh, we made some mistake while uploading these questions. Please check from time to time. There's a bug in the system. Check from time to time, every week, every day this week. Once you see anything uploaded, just delete it. Now, immediately you go onto the platform, you upload some questions, then this other person comes according to the instruction from the team leader and says, oh, the bug has uploaded the question again, and deletes everything. You come back the next day to continue, only to find that what you have done before has been deleted. You see that is now a sabotage. Great teams have roles that may be unique, but all add up to the same goal. Direction is everything. If we don't have direction, we can't move together. Finally, the fourth point that I want to share with you today. Without lubrication, friction will break us. Without lubrication, friction will break us, not may. How many of you, like if you are conversant with cars here, how many of you know that you have to service your car? Can I get, by a show of hands, how many people know that you have to, like, a car has to be serviced from time to time for it to work effectively? Okay, thank you. Peace. Okay, I've seen some reactions. So quite a number of us here know that a car has to be serviced from time to time for it to work. Do you know that one of the things that they do during the servicing of a car is that they change the engine oil? Amongst other things, they change the engine oil. Why do they change the engine oil? The engine oil is changed because the oil that was there previously has gone through the system, and as a result of going through the engine quite a number of times, it has become used. I don't want to go into technical details, but basically, metal upon metal creates chips, and many of that has made the oil to become, in some sense, black. Now they have to remove that old oil and put in another one. Why do you think we need oil in a system? Well, the reason is simple. Metal on metal does not do well together. When you put metal on metal and you ask them to move, there is always friction. And without that oil, there will be wear and tear. With wear and tear, your engine will be damaged. The local technicians will say your engine will knock. Basically, it will stop working. As a team, it is the same thing. If we do not have lubrication, we will not work well together because we are always in contact. We are always in contact with one another. So, for instance, I was in a meeting with a dear team member yesterday, and I believe she's also here. And we're talking about some things. Okay, how would this go? How would that go? There were some points where we had differences in opinions concerning what should be done. And we have to understand that at those points when we have differences in opinions concerning things that should be done, trust is important. Trust is not only that I trust you to do things, it's also that I trust you that you should know what you are doing. And apart from knowing what you are doing, I trust that you have the best interest of this team at heart. So if I trust that you have the best interest, not only of this team, but also of me at heart, I would be able to listen to what you have to say. And that is where lubrication comes in. So instead of us colliding with one another on our own opinions, we have that thin film of lubrication in between us, which is trust. And that trust works miracles. That trust is what would make you to say, okay, I think my method is correct and my way is right. However, I don't think that you would be saying this to sabotage the team. So let me listen to what you have to say. That listening, that understanding what other people are doing, that consistent effort to try to understand the things that people are also trying to do within the team, team is that thin film of lubrication that we have within us. That can work miracles when you are always in contact with your team. Remember, contact is important. When people have contact together, relationships, there is saying that trust is as much as it is earned and it has to be given, it is also something that you must. I don't exactly know how to put this, but it's like when you enter a team, there is a certain level of trust for the other person that you have to have. Like it's just crucial. Sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Is that from Enoch? Please mute yourself. Thank you. There's a certain level of trust that you just have to have for other people in your team. It is the oil. If you do not, if you don't trust the people that you work with, there's no way that that team can be great in the sense of it. So is this trust like trust them with your entire life and tell them all of your life story? Perhaps not. Like that is possible if good relationships are built. But the trust that teams need to work well is not as deep as okay, you want to make this person your lifelong friend. It's not a okay, this person is my eternal companion kind of trust. It is more of a I trust this person to do the things that they need to do, and I trust myself to deliver too. Now, what happens when you don't actually trust your team members? Well, those are some of the fault lines that show that a team is not working as one. And this is a call to every leader to make sure that trust exists within your team as much as you can. It's very difficult, it's very messy, because when you have gears, when mechanical engineers design systems and they just put gears in it and they put oil, the oil cannot say, I'm not going to be an oil anymore, or the gears cannot say, I'm not going to move this direction anymore. They can't do that because once they have been configured to move in that way, they will just do it. But you see, for human teams, hey, you help somebody to understand their roles, and then eventually they are like, oh, I don't think I want to do that anymore. This is now what I want to do. And you have to start all over again. So it's messy, I do understand. But a component of great teams is that they always have lubrication Finally, I want to mention that consistency, as much as trust is important, consistency is also key. The oil that we talked about earlier for the car, you notice that it's not a one-time oil for your car till eternity. It's something that has to be changed consistently. And there's a reason for that. At some point, that oil wears out and it has to like go through that change. For a team of human beings, it's not oil as in lubricant. It is more of you have to keep on putting in consistent effort. Your team members have to know that you are somebody that can deliver on the things that you say you will do when you say you will do them, not somebody that cannot be trusted. There are many, many, many other things that makes great teams to work together. But I really wanted to summarize just 4 of them for us today. And I hope that we got them. Every part, including you, has a purpose. It is when we think that our purpose is small, usually, that we begin to fall. 2, contact is required to create motion. You can't withdraw into your shell and expect that your team will work well. It doesn't happen. You have to build real relationships with people. Third thing is that alignment turns motion into progress. So the question is, are you aligned with your team, or are you so so innovation is important to make your team work, and this thing are different. Use that not really hammer on leadership or teamwork or lots of principles. And everybody that exists team as moving on. And created when they choose to basically, let's say they choose to remove things and make them all the annual also they choose to survive them so that they can work on. Great things are created when you choose to come on. Thank you very much, everybody. It's a nice day to this. Back to you, Israel. I just yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. Maybe ask some topics. Let me ask so any question that you like. Okay, so any questions? Okay, I don't see any questions so far. If you'd like to ask something you'd like to share, in addition, we walk into what that you think they can be for internal space. Exactly. Sorry. Okay, let me start talking about it. Okay, on this, what do you think? You like working all the time. What do you think makes it work well together? We have a lot of things left.
Yeah. Okay, my only two experience. Nothing like this. I just mentioned almost everything. So first at least there's only business that's what and that's something to be if it's based on my experience is the fact that I'm not to grab like feel is what then even when it's like already have some issues. So that is and we work on to fix and just stay in station. And what that like we need to travel yeah. A good thing. I also that you concerned about that like what I usually talking about. But if it doesn't you just have conversation.
Thank you. And then you can also ask that we should not be made like any point that when you like that's not because that's very difficult I really so much check them and I'm about to because like you know like we can concern about this so next time I'm question. Okay. Thanks great.
Okay, I think I have said this in the beginning anyway. Okay, from my own experience, I was calling that. I think just what you said, all about trust and implementing. I think Angel implementing this based on my experience from meetings. We were in such a meeting recording about how we have meetings on and they just this meetings about how we are all bringing something important to the team. It doesn't have to be my way, it doesn't have to be your way. It has to come and for best way to ensure that the team excels and achieves our goals. So I think for me that is one of the most important things that makes a team very good team.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so we should have one more. Yeah, we should call. Okay, thank you. That's right.
Yes, that's me.
Okay.
Actually, I have a question. So thank you very much for the answers. And yes, I perfect. I have a question. You're talking about different types of using example of machines that different types of purpose, and you can't say I'm not doing them because of course they're machines, right?
Yes.
But as humans, one of the things I saw is that we tend to change, and I try to believe and purpose and time bound. So so how do we handle a situation where I feel like as a member, what I'm being here, I feel like I should change this for maybe not to do more, but I feel like I should function in another place. Whereas I've been this place at this time. All I'm doing that, but I just feel like it's time to do something else. So how do we reconcile that?